Let me muster up my Chase impression. I want to believe that the government.
You believe stupid shit. This is the thing that we differ on, is you're going to believe something out of the ordinary.
This is like the Twilight Zone, man.
No, this is the greatest role reversal that I've ever seen.
I don't understand. First of all, I appreciate the differing opinions. However, I don't understand that this is the hope that you hold that something is awry, because I feel like we've talked about a lot of weird shit, and this is the time
trust me, I have no hope, and I have a dog in this fight. It's based on the research that I've done, the things that I've seen.
Okay, so tell me about it.
It makes it. There's just too many holes, like you said, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I think there's too many things that are pointing to the CIA, and they have the strongest motive, in my opinion, based on what we were just talking about. The really strong disagreements between Kennedy and that organization, fired all those top guys, basically cut their balls off as an organization. I mean, everything points to them, in my opinion, or at least some government agency being involved. They're the only ones with the authority, the reach to kind of propagate a cover-up like that.
But don't you think that there's so much scrutiny on the government that even killing the president, the return on investment of that wouldn't even work, right? Because you don't know that the next president that's going to step up, you don't know that Johnson isn't going to have the same thought process. You don't know. I mean, everybody is going to. I don't believe the return on investment is worth assassinating the president from an
Johnson
internal.
was a long-time Washington insider, so you had a lot more insight with him than you did with this young testosterone-filled womanizer that would do basically whatever he felt like. He didn't play nice with the parties as much. He wasn't there. His whole presidency, he wasn't there to make people happy, to make people like to his contingency or I can't even talk today.
Constituents, yeah.
That's it. Thank you. But it was the people that he was more representing than the special interest groups. But Johnson was a longtime insider, so yeah, the CIA would definitely be. I know if it were me, I would cast my lot with the one I had more intimate knowledge and a longer relationship with.
So a couple of other things that I want to hit home with as to why Oswald did this and nobody else. This motherfucker tried to assassinate an army general beforehand. He tried to do this. He missed. He failed. That is a documented thing. He had already tried to assassinate somebody. He's a lunatic. He doesn't know his bunghole from his freaking nose hole. And this guy's just he's an idiot.
You mean the non-moving target general that was in his home?
It doesn't matter.
That he shot closer but missed and couldn't hit.
He's a freaking sharpshooter, man.
As they shattered off of what he missed.
You guys are.
I was just asking.
No, look, you guys. This is going to be a yelling episode for me because
about time.
It's just ridiculous. This guy just he has the mindset that he's doing this. He already tries to do it. He misses. Okay, great. I don't give two shits if he's the goddamn best shooter in the world. He misses. He's look. Again, it's a way different mindset if you're a great shooter and you go to assassinate somebody, and that's what he's doing. So he's not even a great shooter. He is a mediocre shooter that goes to assassinate an army general. He misses, right? So then he goes to assassinate Kennedy. He misses his first shot. He reloads. He shoots the motherfucker in the neck. This guy's not moving again. So then he shoots him in the freaking face. I don't understand how that is so hard to believe. And this guy is just a lunatic from day one, from his time in the Marines all the way up till the time that he gets denied marrying an Eastern European chick, which nobody even does. I mean, Eastern European chicks will marry anybody. So. I mean, it's just
so then, Chase, how do you rationalize that in 1977 the U.S. House of Representatives had made a select committee on assassinations that essentially reinvestigated the Warren Commission, and they reaffirmed a lot of the Warren Commission's findings, with the exception that they said a second shooter was probable. So you think they're just wrong?
No, I don't think that. I don't understand. I mean, I would have to see how they got to the conclusion that a second shooter is probable. I think that's an easy cop out, right? Because everybody always says, regardless of what conspiracy theory you're in cahoots with, there's always the debate of he couldn't take those 3 shots within the time frame from the gun that he had, and I think that's false.
I think they came to that conclusion because of something called witnesses, people that saw things.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that you're now pitching witnesses, and this whole time, every podcast that we have, you're saying that people are basically weak-minded.
I didn't say they're weak-minded.
Anything that comes from people.
I said,
but you can't trust. People can't be trusted. Right?
I said that certain aspects of memory certainly can't be trusted. Yeah,
I don't give a fuck. Listen, if I was standing in a grassy knoll, and Trump drives by, and that motherfucker's face gets blasted, yeah, I might come up to some weird conclusions that I have no proof of, no evidence of.
What weird conclusions are you going to come up with?
That, yeah, I saw this guy fucking shoot him, or this guy spit right before the gun went off. It might be him, or you know what? I maybe had a gun. Did I have a gun on me that time? Like, you saw a guy's face get blasted off. Like, you can't discount that, and I don't feel like witness, because this is such a high-profile case that I don't feel like witnesses can be trusted. I don't feel like you can trust the human mind to process this like a normal crime or any sort of normal day-to-day type thing. This is one of those things that you guys said throughout this whole podcast, how beloved Kennedy was. And if you're there at that point watching this guy die, and you just come up with anything that you can to try to reconcile what you just saw. And I don't think you're taking the facts into consideration. I don't think you're taking much into consideration outside of the fact that, yeah, this guy said this, so this might make sense. Or you're just trying to grasp onto anything that might reconcile this in your brain.
I don't think you're taking in the murder investigation aspects. Like, what would a detective do who's doing this? The first thing you look for, this is why if I come up dead, the first person they're going to come and talk to is my wife. I'm sorry.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Jackie Kennedy, womanizer.
Yeah. So, right. But you look for the person who may have the best motive. And yeah, Oswald is insane. Oswald hated America because you said yourself. He loved JFK. He was a big fan of the president himself, hated the government. So the motive gets weak. Now possible motives are he wanted to impress Russia, he wanted to go back there, he thought maybe this was his ticket, but these are weak motives. Whereas something like Fidel Castro, the mafia, and CIA all have 1,000,000 times stronger motive than Oswald. And I just think I feel like you're denying them just immediately because without a lot of consideration to that motive.
No, I've taken all of them into consideration, and I don't disagree that there is motive for several different outlets for what could have potentially happened. And if I had to choose a conspiracy theory in the spirit of me being a fucking weirdo, I would lend towards not the CIA, not the mafia, although the mafia makes sense. The CIA I don't think has too much of a motive because I think they survive regardless of what Kennedy does or whatever he does, they still survive. I think the mafia might have a good case. So if I had to choose one, the mafia makes sense. I am not opposed, if you want to argue this or talk about this, I am not opposed to I don't even want to get into this because I've been so stern on my
Lee Harvey Oswald is a psychopath
this time that I will not negate the fact that I think Lyndon Johnson may have been involved.
And he always had strong ties to the CIA.
Well, and it's not a matter of that. I mean, he's a power hungry motherfucker, right? He's from Texas. He has a lot of ties in Texas. His political ties in Texas are so strong. He is a Texas monster when it comes to the political game. In
So we've
Texas.
already converted
Right.
you
He has-
through the course of this episode. You've already
No.
been converted. Done.
No, I'm not converted. I'm just saying I believe that if you hold a gun to my head, no pun intended, and force me to believe a theory, I will.
You had to
believe
cast your lot.
the one that I will believe. Just so you guys know that I'm not so stern on Lee Harvey Oswald. I will believe that Lyndon B. Johnson had some role in this, but I don't think if you take it one step further, I don't think that Lee Harvey Oswald had anything to do with Lyndon B. Johnson or vice versa. But I think my overarching one, if I'm ranking my conspiracy theories, it's Lee Harvey Oswald did this hands down. The second one is Lyndon Johnson had some sort of play in this. He had everything to gain and nothing to lose. And the third one is the mafia. I don't think the CIA has any touch in this. It's too risky for them. I think they are too powerful, even in the 60s, to be disbanded by a president, even however beloved he is. And regardless of that, I think he's too beloved, or the CIA is too strong. They're too important to the society. Even though Kennedy hated secrets, he hated everything that the CIA was about. They have no skin in the game when it comes to assassinating the president. I think the mafia has a lot to gain. So if you're talking about it, I think Lee Harvey Oswald, Lyndon Johnson, and the mafia.
But I mean, the CIA they're already that dog that just got neutered, and so now the dog has everything against the veterinarian that has cut his balls off.
Yeah, I mean, I think the struggling for survival at the time, Kennedy had almost a 2/3 majority in the House and Senate. I think if he really had pushed to disband the CIA, he could have easily got the Democratic votes to do it. So I think there was really legitimate motive on the part of the CIA. But we're at almost an hour and a half, so we really need to
just keep doing this all night. All right, so let's do some final thoughts.
No, I think we've covered the two very distinct viewpoints here. Is the Chase camp that a good portion of America these days is a part of now, that the official story is true.
No, we've converted him.
And then you have the...
No, you have.
Well, obviously.
There's no conversion.
You can be...
here.
Denial's not just a river in Egypt, Chase.
I'm just saying that if I had to be convinced that there was a conspiracy theory, I wouldn't peg it on the CIA or the mafia. I would peg it on Lyndon Johnson first, and then we can go from there. But you have not turned me. I still am a firm believer that there was no hinkiness at play, that it was just a crazy person that got lucky with a couple of shots.
Okay. Miles, how do you wrap it up from your end?
It's just, like I said, I don't know what happened. I just know there are too many holes in the official story. It was too convenient. It was too wrapped up from arrest to Oswald's killing to the end of the report to be able to from the end of the report to be able to believe it is 100% true and there's nothing else at play.
God, I could just fucking go off. I mean, like, I could literally stretch this for another 45 minutes without any.
That's how
break.
I feel most of the time.
Without
listening
anybody else
to you,
talking.
Chase, ramble on
What?
most episodes. But anyway, I do want to say, Miles, thanks for joining us tonight. It was nice to talk with you, hear some of your thoughts on this topic.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Miles.
Yeah, and it's been weird, kind of being on this side of the coin.
Yeah, I completely expected it to be Chase and I versus you, based on the entirety of every episode I've watched.
Well, I mean, I'm not a hard and fast skeptic. I evaluate all the facts and evidence and come to my conclusion, and this is where I'm at.
Come to the wrong conclusions.
But it's definitely a different experience. I'm sure we'll get back on track next week. But no, I just definitely appreciate you joining us, Miles. It was nice again to talk to you. But yeah, I think the CIA is the most likely situation. But you know, I look forward to you bringing this one up in every future episode that we have, Chase.
And we didn't even explore why the fuck Jack Ruby kills Lee Harvey Oswald, which I think is probably an interesting theory, which we probably all agree on. So, I mean, there's just probably maybe a part 2 is coming to this.